I'm proud of every guy that stepped on the floor, all the coaches, all the people behind.
Luka Doncic's bad habit just cost him an NBA championship. Find out how this surprising flaw derailed his team's title dreams and left fans stunned.
Just trying to get a little bit healthier.
Dive into the dramatic details and explore what went wrong in this high-stakes season finale. Don't miss this jaw-dropping story. The bad habit. Luka Doncic said his final words about this Dallas Mavericks season, now concluded, before the Boston Celtics had even lifted their championship trophy to the sky. Doncic trudged to the interview room 5 minutes after the final buzzer of Game 5 of the NBA Finals, a 106-88 defeat that at last sent him into the offseason. It was a familiar sight, blood showing from his knee, exhaustion evident from his gait, brevity preferred within every answer he gave. Celebratory yells from his opponent sometimes sneaked in from the hallways. He ignored them. They weren't for him. Nothing, he said, asked to put what he was feeling into words.
Sad we lost.
Sad we lost. It was the longest year of Doncic's career, one that held the highest and lowest moments of his career to date. He had, for the first time, reached the finals. He achieved far more than that. A scoring title, a 73-point game, his first top 3 finish for most valuable player. He became a father, a leader, and a brother to his superstar teammate. He also became a lightning rod for those who saw his flaws, visible on the highest stage that was now being constructed to prop up another team. I'm proud of every guy that stepped on the floor, all the coaches, all the people behind.
I'm proud of every guy that stepped on the floor, all the coaches, all the people behind.
Doncic said, "We didn't win the finals, but we did have a hell of a season. Now, Doncic has choices to make. The nearest one concerns his next few months, whether he will join the Slovenian national team to try to qualify for the 2024 Olympics. I have some decisions to make," Doncic said. "I'm just trying to get a little bit healthier."
Just trying to get a little bit healthier.
Doncic plodded through the season's final months with a slew of injuries and aches, most notably a right knee sprain he suffered in the postseason's opening round. It was evident throughout this final series, one where he was statistically good, but often visibly not himself. "It doesn't matter if I was hurt, how much I was hurt," he said. "I was out there trying to play, but I didn't do enough." But there are decisions that loom even larger, ones that are less binary than opting in or out of a national team he has always shown up for. Doncic is a 25-year-old superstar whose trajectory has him on course for this sport's highest echelon. He could change nothing and still finish within it, but how high he reaches might depend on how he changes his approach. There was a chance for Dallas to make this series more competitive in the wake of Kristaps Porzingis' injury that sidelined him for games 3 and 4. In that third game, with his team already down 2-0, Doncic's emotional crash and burn led to him fouling out with more than 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. It led to stricter scrutiny of his blemishes than ever before due to the significance of the moment. It was the consequences of bad habits that have plagued him for years and bleed into each other. Doncic has often struggled with the physical conditioning needed to play 6 straight months of basketball. This year, it was closer to 8. His magnetic presence on the court, fueled by emotion, falters when he knows he isn't able to be himself. It manifests in outbursts directed at referees and even teammates. In this postseason run, it was amplified by his injuries. But in Game 5, it was clear from the opening moments that he had exhausted everything he had left in his 92nd game of the season, which is a lesson that matters because this is a place where Doncic must return. It's what those in his orbit expect of him. He's one of the best players in the world, Mavericks coach Jason Kidd said. There's going to be bumps and bruises along the way. For him, at the age of 25 to get to the finals, to be playing his basketball at the level that he's playing now it's just being consistent. Because when you have one of the best players in the world, you should be always fighting for a championship. Doncic knows that failure is a chance to learn. In Game 4, 2 nights after the disappointing outing that effectively ended his first chance at this league's championship trophy, he responded with his typical brilliance. He channeled his emotions through the basketball, not those around it, and led Dallas to victory. This is a familiar cycle, which he performed earlier this postseason, and even during the dogged regular season days of this very season that feels so distant. It's a habitual one he wants to break, has tried to break. Doing so may take hard lessons on this final stage to drive home what else must be done. It starts in the summertime. It starts early in preseason when you're developing your habits, said Kyrie Irving, asked what it actually looks like to grow from failure. I think if you look at the overall big picture, Luka's right, and I've been saying it too. Just failure, it can inspire you beyond measure. Whether that happens for Doncic begins now. Not because there are any remaining questions about his basketball brilliance, but about how much greater it can be. Moving on, how do the Mavericks get back in 2025 or soon thereafter? Firstly, they need to build up. Over the last few weeks, players noted how physical Boston played against them. Secondly, they need to build out with knockdown shooting as their most obvious requirement. Josh Green, age 23, had a strong Game 5 with 14 points in less than 23 minutes, hitting 4 of 6 three-pointers and 5 of 8 overall. However, he averaged only 6.6 shots this season, tying for 6th on the squad. Dallas ranked 2nd and 3rd in three-pointers, attempted and made during the regular season respectively, but their accuracy was middle of the pack at 36.9%. According to one Mavericks insider, this is nothing an in his prime Peja Stojakovic couldn't fix. What the Mavs are counting on most as summer heads toward fall is continuity and familiarity. Forward PJ Washington and center Daniel Gafford helped transform the team after GM Nico Harrison got them from Charlotte and Washington respectively at the February trade deadline. Washington addressed fundamental needs on both ends of the floor, with Gafford pairing up with rookie Derek Lively-Sekou to provide Dallas with two agile rim runners capable of finishing lobs from Doncic and Irving, as well as defending the paint. From the February 8th deadline through the end of the season, Dallas improved from 18th to 7th in defensive rating and from 15th to 5th in net rating. Lively's emergence sparked genuine excitement. The 20-year-old rookie had his playing time managed for most of the season as he balanced on-court responsibilities with personal challenges. His mother passed away in April after a prolonged battle with cancer. By games 3 and 4 of the finals, Lively was consistently posting double-doubles and experimenting with a three-point shot. The team's core remains its star backcourt. Doncic, $40 million, and Irving, $43 million, account for nearly half of the $173 million Dallas has committed to next season's payroll. The team's ability to acquire outside help will be limited, so it's fortunate that only one player in Jason Kidd's finals rotation, forward Derek Jones Jr., is unsigned. He's a 27-year-old unrestricted free agent whose game seems to have found a home in his 5th NBA stop. Doncic and Irving combined to score 1,122 points in this playoff run, the most by two teammates in an NBA postseason. The challenge, as it was in this series, remains to find a reliable 3rd and even 4th scorer. The finals were a rite of passage for Doncic, an ordeal at times, Game 3, followed by a taste of redemption, Game 4. He was banged up from the Mavs' playoff climb through higher seeds, the Clippers, the Thunder, the Timberwolves, and finally, the champion Celtics. But he kept grinding. At 25, Doncic is a perennial MVP candidate in search of a ring. Just as his team needs to develop from within, so does Doncic, as a defender, in coping with officials and getting in better physical shape. We all would like to be healthy, but there's going to be bumps and bruises along the way, Kidd said. Now it's just being consistent. When you have one of the best players in the world, you should be always fighting for a championship. Irving has been an all-star just once since 2021, but at 32, he averaged 25.6 points and shot 41% from three-point range while coexisting alongside Doncic at a level that astounded some former critics. Doncic gives him space when he's hot, and there still is no more creative finisher and closer in the league. Irving sees himself front and center as a veteran to shepherd along Dallas's growth. They'll have another training camp together, and besides new expectations, a fresh swagger from getting so far, so quickly. These young guys are very hungry, Irving said. They want a championship. I want a championship. So our feelings are very mutual, but I've always reminded them that this is a process. Failure is going to be part of this too. Dallas can consider that box checked.